Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, directly from the DITA Technical Committee, also known as Dr. Macro, Eliot Kimber.
Thank you, George, for that wonderful introduction. That was entirely unexpected. My first question, does anybody here read and or speak Chinese? Okay, I'll have to ask you to leave. No, I just want to make it clear, all of the Chinese was created with Google Translate, so if it is complete nonsense, talk to somebody in Mountain View. Yeah. All right, this is me. As Robert said earlier, I've been doing this for a very long time. I am, I think the German is old, is that right? Not sure. Anyway, very old, doing it a long time. All right, so we're going to talk about localization, or rather the collation of simplified Chinese and other stuff. So a very long time ago, I was doing a project for Nokia where we were taking a system that required 5 different pieces of software in order to localize their content into all the languages in which they delivered mobile phones, which was all of them, to a system where we would be able to have a single XML source that would then be localized to every language and processed through a single tool chain, which was XSLFO. And as part of that, we had to do sorting and grouping, right, indexes and so forth. And as part of that project, I built a little open source project that did that, had configuration files. I could configure your grouping and your sorting for every language except Simplified Chinese. And I was not happy about that, but there wasn't anything I could do, because to sort and group Simplified Chinese requires something that 17 years ago I did not have, which we'll get to in a moment. All right, so what are the general requirements that we find here? We need to be able to sort and group Simplified Chinese and other languages, but all the other languages are easier. Except Japanese, not so easy, but there's no solution for that. So, sorry. We need to be able to do rough layout of lines. In particular, I need to be able to find word boundaries. Oh, that should say word boundaries, not work boundaries. Sorry about that. And also requires finding line break opportunities. And the target application for this, well, in order to group and sort Simplified Chinese, I need to be able to figure out where the words are, because I need to be able to do dictionary lookup. But also, I needed to be able to actually do semi-fixed layout EPUBs, where I was actually rendering text into HTML, but with knowledge of what the actual physical size of my screen was going to be. And so to do that, I need to be able to find word boundaries and line break opportunities in every language. And I can do that with available software, so that was cool. Target applications, of course, we need to be able to do grouping and sorting generally, so glossaries, indexes, and so forth. And then fixed layout EPUBs, which was this kind of bizarre thing that the company that hired me, I said, why are they doing this? And no, that's what they're doing. Just do what we told you to and we'll pay you. And okay, fine. And it needed to be a free open source solution because this is the open toolkit and open is the first word, right? So why is Simplified Chinese a challenge? Yeah, so Simplified Chinese collates using the pinyin transliteration of words. So if you're familiar with Chinese, so here, that is the Google Translate rendition of challenge, Simplified Chinese. Those characters form some set of words and they have a transliteration using Latin characters into the way that they would be pronounced in Mandarin. Right, so that's the pinyin transliteration. And pinyin is the standard transliteration that is used in the PRC as the standard for representing Chinese as it is spoken in Mandarin. Cantonese, pronounced entirely differently, they have a different transliteration for the same character. Now, why am I saying simplified Chinese? Because there's also traditional Chinese as used in Taiwan and some other countries. That is a different set of characters, and they are collated based on radical and stroke count, which makes them as easy as any other alphabetic language to collate, given you have a dictionary, which Unicode provides. Simplified Chinese, there is no way to do simplified Chinese collation based purely on the individual characters. You have to have a dictionary, right? Every other language in modern use, certainly every language for which you might sell a phone to somebody, can be collated just using the characters. Whether it's alphabetic or syllabic, it doesn't really matter. Traditional Chinese doesn't matter, right? Simplified Chinese, and so it takes a dictionary. The problem is, it takes a dictionary that somebody put a lot of time and effort into creating, and if you put a lot of time and effort into creating something, what do? Do you give it away?
Not money.
Well, nowadays you do, yes. But 15 years ago, no, you did not give it away. So there was no free open source dictionary of sufficient size to allow me to solve this problem in an open source solution. All right, fast forward to a year or so ago. Hey, presto, there is in fact an open source dictionary, right? So now I can solve this problem, finally, after 17 years, right? So you need a dictionary. So you got to find the words. You look the word up in the dictionary. You get its pinyin transliteration. Okay, that's just A, B, C, D. I can sort that easily enough. Well, you've got some tone marks, but you convert those to numbers. That works. And then you may need a word for where the same set of characters could be different words. You use word frequency to pick the most likely choice. And we have a frequency dictionary as well. All right. So how did I solve this problem? So there's an open source project called CCCEDict, which is an open source dictionary of Chinese with pinyin transliterations. There's about 155,000 entries in it, which is, 10 times more than I need, really, but plenty. So I was able to take that, do a little slicing and dicing on it, make a subset of that data that I need just to drive the collation. That works great. ICU4J is a standard library that IBM has been maintaining for decades now. It's already used in the core of the DITA Open Toolkit. It provides word and line breaking features. It's completely configurable. It also does collation for every language except Simplified Chinese because it doesn't come with a dictionary. Right? So there you go. I also used, there's a library in Java called 2D that allows you to get the estimates of string length if you can provide the font information, so that lets me do reasonably good line breaking and line wrapping. And then I just integrated all of this stuff with Saxon Saxon has a Java API for collators. So I just implemented that API, and now in XSLT, I can just say XSLT sort, and as long as you specify the right magic string to get this collator, it just works. I created a XSLT function library, so that gives you the ability to access all of this functionality in an easy way from XSLT. So for example, to get grouping keys or sorting keys, that sort of thing. And then because everything I do is DITA, well, almost everything I do is DITA. Actually, I don't do DITA anymore, but anyway, I had already done this. That's true. It just happens my current 2 clients are not DITA clients. But I packaged all this as a DITA Open Toolkit so it would be convenient and easy to use from any Open Toolkit processor. But the Java and the XSLT that I implemented are not Open Toolkit specific at all. They're DITA-aware, and that I have code in the XSLT that understands the sort as element that we added in DITA 1.3. So that's there. But otherwise, you could use this in any context in which you're using XSLT and Java to process any language. All right, so this is packaged in the DITA Community internationalization plugin, which you can find on I have a link to it, but it's in the DITA Community project on GitHub. Right, so custom collator for Simplified Chinese, and that implements my dictionary-based collation. Right now, it only works with Saxon 9.1 because the API for how you extend the collators changed from 9.1 to 9.6, but I just haven't had time to support 9.6. But now that the Open Toolkit now bundles, 9.8? Yeah, I'll have to fix that. Well, or just stay on 1.8.5. No, that would be wrong. XSLT function library, so you can get grouping and sorting keys. You can get rendered text length if you have the font details, and you can do word and line breaking. And that stuff might be useful for a lot of things, nothing that's not necessarily to do with localization. But since I had to build it anyway, I put it all in there. And then there's also a general grouping and sorting configuration file mechanism, which may or may not be redundant with some of the stuff that's in the Open Toolkit. I'm not actually sure. Didn't really look at it, but because I was focused on the Simplified Chinese stuff. Still doing active development. So the first pass, my pinyin determination wasn't as accurate as it should have been. So I'm making that more accurate and adding in the use of the word frequency data. So that's ongoing, hopefully before the end of the year, or my client's going to be very unhappy. What have I not yet done? Grouping of glossaries and anything else you might want to group. This is not a particularly hard problem. It's just I haven't had time to get to it, but it would be, you know, a natural extension to the base Open Toolkit processing. The Open Toolkit already does index grouping and sorting, and this would sort of either replace that or break it. And I haven't really looked, and I was kind of waiting for the 3.0 pre-processing stuff to sort out before suggesting that we replace it with something different. But anyway, I have to look at this. But the mechanism is there, just haven't integrated it with anything. All right. Hey, I talked so fast I have time for my demo. Cool.
Quick question.
Yes?
What are the groups in Chinese?
In Simplified Chinese, it's sorted by pinyin, which is Latin. So it's A, B, C.
Oh.
Yeah. In traditional Chinese, it's 1 character, 2 character, 3 character, 4 character. I mean, 1 stroke, 2 stroke, 3 stroke. Yeah. And then A to Z for all the English words. Yeah. All right. Oh, you can't see that. No, it was my Google Translate page. There we are. Okay. A little bit bigger. So what I have that actually demonstrates that this does something is there's, when you install the plugin, it comes with a little test harness. That's just really my easy way of testing it. So I'm actually in the DITA Open Toolkit. I'm running my DITA Community I18N test. And what this is going to do is this is just going to show that we've done a lot of stuff. This is really hard to do because now I can't see my mouse. There it is. All right. So this is just showing that I have terms and that, you know, I'm picking out the words, getting the pinyin transliterations of them. Right, that was my main task. And then here I'm doing some more of that. I don't remember why that was. This was sorting, right? So if you look at the pinyin, if you can see that, you can see it's more or less, well, it should actually be in exactly correct alphabetical order. The question is whether the pinyin is correct. That's really the question. Then I also generate, as another test, an HTML file here, which is a little bit deeper collation test. So this is the test of the code that I haven't released yet. Where's the damn cursor? There it is. All right. So you can see I'm saying what position I expect and what I actually got. So here, like this should be item 4 in this list, but it's actually gone first because I'm not currently handling leading digits. If you can see that, there's a 3 there. But then I've got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 17, 19, and 18. I almost got it right there. So, you know, starting to test. But there's this little test harness so you could, if you need to evaluate how correct the grouping and sorting is for Simplified Chinese, like for your own content, you could put this in here. I mean, one of the challenges is if you have technical terms that aren't going to show up in a typical dictionary, you might need to extend the dictionary itself. And the mechanism provides for that. Okay. Enough demonstration fun. All right, so do we have any questions? Yes?
The word breaking, how did you do that?
How did I do that?
It's really hard.
Well, it is, but here was my secret.
Yeah.
ICU for J does it for you.
Oh, wow.
What's that? It does, well,
It has to be dictionary based.
it has to be dictionary based for simplified, yeah, I'm trying to think. For simplified Chinese, it already had like a weak dictionary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't remember if I augmented that or not, no, because it was long enough ago that I did that. But I was also, the word breaking, I was actually more focused on other languages, because in simplified Chinese, really your words are only ever going to be 1 or 2 characters long. Every once in a while they're going to be 3. So even if you got it wrong, nobody's really going to, well, no reviewer is going to notice. But for Latin languages and languages like Thai, where it's, it's more important that it be correct, but it's also easier to do. ICU4J already does that correctly. Other questions? All right, well then thank you very much.
Thank you.